has it hanging. Peanut butter latte.
I just had peanut butter on toast.
This thing is one of the best purchases I've ever made. Shit, I did it again. Well, close enough. Oh, that's a little better.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing another coffee talk on the Koze channel. We're gonna go through all of the ways to set and achieve our goals in 2019. Now I made myself a chocolate peanut butter latte. I decided, okay, I was originally gonna go to Starbucks and get a coffee for this video. I tried to justify it to myself. I was like, why do I need to walk out into the cold and pay money for a coffee if I have the stuff to make one here? So I decided to use or crack out my Nespresso machine, make myself a little shot of espresso. So I warmed up some almond milk, I frothed it, I put a shot of espresso in it, and then for Christmas, my sister got me peanut butter syrup for my coffee, so I added that in, and then put a little, or attempted to put a little smiley face on top. This became this coffee, also a constellation I did not realize for Pisces was on this. Potential tattoo I've been thinking about. So seeing as it is now 2019, we've moved into the new year, and I'm sure a lot of us, or at least I can say I definitely have been setting a lot of goals, or just things that I really want to focus on this year, just things I know I want to get done. And funny enough, please don't judge me, but my horoscope is very right in the sense that this month feels like one of those months that normally when the new year comes around, I kind of hit the ground running, but this year I've noticed that this pocket of time, it's been very sit and simmer with my goals and really just make sure that I'm kind of aligning myself for success and learning from the things that I kind of did wrong, or I feel like I maybe could have done better last year. I'm mindfully committing to the things that I want to focus on this year, and then not only that, but actually planning them and boiling them down all the way up until now so that I can just kind of take the pressure off. You know that indecision, how when you're indecisive you spend more energy and more time being indecisive than if you were to just choose something and end up being wrong and then having to go back and choose the other thing. For me, I just kind of feel like I want to make sure that I'm taking all of January to really root what I want to grow in 2019 so that I'm tending to my garden properly. So I guess that would be my first tip in terms of setting and achieving your goals in 2019 is to actually figure out what it is that you want, because you can't really go for something if you don't know exactly what it is, or you will. Technically, you'll still be creating movement in your life, but it won't be necessarily towards the goals that you're hoping to achieve. You might be creating movement towards someone else's goal, or just kind of mindlessly scrolling through life waiting for things to happen, which can be fun too. But if you know there's something deep inside of you that you just really want to get to, or you really want to see happen in your life, then figure out what it is, because once you know, then you can start making the action that it's going to take to get there. I'm someone that gets overwhelmed a little easily just because there's so many options. How do you narrow down exactly what you want to focus on when there's so much you technically could focus on? Sit down, picture my life for however I'm trying to set the goal for. So for now, I'm doing just 2019 because I don't really know what I'm going to want in 2020. I don't know what I'm going to want in 2021. I change my mind a lot just for this year. That's all I want to focus on. What do I see happening? And I try and just meditate on it and picture it happening and see what just boils up. And I choose to kind of pick out the ones that make me get really excited and really pumped up and just really motivated, because that's how I know hey, I'm onto something here, because I feel it in my body. My body is yes, that image is sparking up some kind of magic. I feel like I want to go for that. Another way to do this is to use brainwebs or brainstorms. You can just pull out a piece of paper, write down any kind of words that come to mind when you think of what you want to accomplish goal-wise, or maybe you can scroll online through Pinterest, WeHeart It, all of that fun stuff. Take out a piece of paper, write at the top, what do you want this year? And just don't filter yourself. Just start writing and just see what comes out. It's a way to get curious about where you're at and sense of what you would like to see happening or what you could see happening. Pull inspiration from the things you've been drawn to lately and just get as detailed as possible. The more detail you put in it, the more you're going to be able to actually harness in and focus on exactly what you want to create for yourself. If you could picture yourself living the kind of life that you want to live, then you're one step closer to getting there because you already know what it looks like. So then my second tip would be to ask yourself why you want it. Even just how I was saying with 2018, I think there was a lot of goals that I set for myself without fully asking myself why I was doing it. A lot of the goals that I was setting for myself were definitely passions of mine, but then I think that there were some goals I was setting for myself that were kind of standards that I had just accepted that weren't necessarily my own. Like, I have to, post this many videos a week, or I have to do this to be successful. And doing those things, while they can be great and technically, yeah, you can still put a lot of effort and time and energy into those things and probably feel pretty accomplished at the end of them. If they don't have a strong enough why for you, they're not going to feel right at the end of it. You'll get there and then you'll be like, that's it. If you're not honest with yourself, you're going to end up burning up all of your resources, which are merely just your time and your energy climbing mountains that aren't the view that you're looking for. If you know what your view is and you know why you want that view, you'll be able to pick what mountain it's going to take for you to get to that view. And not only that, enjoy the process along the way. If your intentions aren't aligned, you're either going to give up, plane the whole way up the mountain, get to the top and not like the view, or the view not be the perspective or like the area you wanted to, see the world in. I'm just running with this metaphor, but basically what I'm saying is you got to be selective about the mountains you choose to climb. And the only way you're going to be able to know which mountain is right for you is if you can establish a why you want to get to the top of that mountain. And to do so, you have to know like what actually makes you just feel like alive, what makes you giddy inside, what makes you excited, what makes you get that spark of like, yes, like I feel that in my body. Climb those mountains and leave the other mountains to the side. Even if you do end up having time to climb them, let that be a later thing and let your main focus be on the mountains that are going to be the ones that have the most fulfillment from hitting the peak and making the journey, which is tip number 3, and that is to prioritize your main goals. This is another thing that I feel like I could have done better last year, and I'm going to try and do better this year, is to prioritize what goals are like non-negotiable and which ones are like icing on the cake. Because if you try and go for way too many goals at once, you're going to feel overwhelmed, you're going to feel burnt out, you're going to feel strung out, and you're just going to feel like you're going crazy. And I feel like, oddly enough, if you focus on trying to get less done, or you just focus on having to make less decisions with your time, like these are the top 3 or top 2 or anywhere from like, I would say 1 to 5. The top 1 to 5 goals you want to focus on for 2019, focusing your main capacity of time and effort and energy on those goals will free up that stress you have from trying to spread yourself thin over so many, which will actually end up opening up more space and pockets of time for you to work on the secondary goals because you're making so much momentum with the priority goals. Does that make sense? I hope you're still following. So look at your list. Choose what are going to be the most important for you, or what you feel aligns most or connects most with who you want to be just this year. Keep in mind, there's still going to be next year and the year after that. You don't have to try and get it all done at once. Give yourself the time and the space to focus on a few and do them right than to focus on them all and do them wrong. Celebratory sip. Wow, this is actually so good. It's going to be a new regular. Tip number 4 is to work your way backwards. So this is kind of where the fun part gets in. The whole plan with me is I feel like we're all on that kind of level with the highlighters and the calendars and bullet journals and whatever you choose to use. Pull out a calendar, start where you see yourself hitting that goal by, and then work your way backwards and go all the way back down until tomorrow. Like, what's it going to take for you to do action item tomorrow that's going to take you one step closer? And if you can break your goal down into bite-sized pieces and little steps like that, it's going to feel so much more fun taking that climb of the mountain along the way, right? Like, you don't want to look at the whole mountain every single day and see how far you have to go. You want to just focus on today. I just have to take this step, then I can rest up, put out my camp and enjoy the journey. I can start a little campfire, play a little camp tune, put on some music, stare at the stars a little bit. I don't have to race up this mountain. I just need to take this step today. And that's going to keep you on pace with your goal, which will stop you from feeling that burnout. It'll stop you from feeling, again, the overwhelm. And just in general, it'll make it so much more fun to actually go after your goal and give you a clear indication of what action items you actually need to take to start making movement. I feel like once you actually know what steps you need to start taking, and then you wake up on the first day and you take that first step, it feels so good that you're excited to wake up on day 2 and take that second step. I get really excited about my goals and I take that first step. I'm like, oh cool, now I have 4 more hours today. I should just take steps 2, 3, 4, and 5 and ditch all my other goals today. But that is why it's important to map it all out over the years so you have time to see that you can take your time getting to your goal. Give yourself the like value of that space and that time so that you can actually enjoy the journey rather than stress out about it the whole way. And always, always, always leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room, because I find too that when you're working your way backwards and you're setting like, hey, I want to be 3/4 of the way here by this time, and I want to be halfway to my goal by this time, give yourself some wiggle room, because there's always going to be like little interruptions in life. There's always going to be little roadblocks, little detours that we have to take. You never know when, you know, you're going to lose your hiking boot. I'm just running with this mountain metaphor, but you know what I'm saying. You never know when you're going to get rained on and have to stay in camp for a day. You just have to make sure you give yourself that little bit of wiggle room, be able to make some detours along the way. Tip number 5, coming up with your stick it or quit it plan, because there is going to come a point, it's almost inevitable on every single like journey towards like a big goal or something you're trying to accomplish, where you're going to be like, it's time to either stick to it or quit it. We get resistance, we get setbacks, don't feel like it some days, or we just want to give up, or something gets in the way or distracts us, or we fall off course for a little while, and then suddenly we're kind of brought to this moment of like, we're either going to drop this and give up on it, or we're going to stick to it and see it through. And if you have a plan ready for when you get to that moment now, then you're preparing yourself for later to stick to it, because you know that if you bring it back to your why you even want to stick with it in the first place. So coming up with a stick it or quit it plan could be anything from writing yourself a letter. You could have like a routine in place that every time you feel like you want to give up, you're gonna, you know, dance or do some yoga or do some like meditative breathing. I don't know. You could have like a weekly reward in place so that you already know now that you're never gonna want to quit it, because each week if you accomplish every day of doing said habit, you get that little reward at the end of the week. You can make yourself a dream board to look at every time you want to quit. Make yourself bullet journal inserts that you can fill out every day that'll keep you on task with your goals. Just anything that's going to kind of keep you on par when you're going to want to give up and you're going to want to quit. Which then, last but not least, the 6th tip is to just get to it. Now that you know what you have to do and you know why you want to do it, you should be just like boiling with excitement right now to get started. You should want to go to sleep early tonight so you can wake up and take your first step. And if you aren't, then I would definitely recommend going back and looking at your intention and your why. Either you've lost some sort of intention along the way, or your why isn't strong enough. Those are the only 2 things you really have control over: what you're going after and your perspective on it. So when those 2 things are aligned, you're gonna feel that sense of excitement to wanna get up and just go after your goal and take the time it's gonna take, make the sacrifices that you're gonna have to take with either your social life or maybe short-term pleasures or all of those little things that are gonna wanna take you away from what you're trying to focus on. I also think comes with balance in life. Don't go too crazy on your goal that, again, you don't give yourself that little bit of wiggle room to detour every now and then. If doing all of the things that we've talked about in this video leaves you kind of just like, okay, then I mean, maybe just take a look at your goal and maybe make some minor adjustments until you find something that feels like it's really just like getting you all kind of hot and bothered inside. If you can't change what you have to do, then change your perspective on it. And if you can't change your perspective on it, then change your goals, because when it boils down to it, you're only given, like I said, the resources that you have, and that's your time and your energy. There's a lot you can do to peak your energy, and there's a lot you can do to enhance your time, but ultimately you're gonna just want to make sure that you're investing both of those things in the things that make you feel more connected in this life and also just happiest in this life, because what else would there be to do? Otherwise, we're just like walking through our lives using our resources, you know, not really connecting with them. So that's why. That's the big why, at least. And of course, the moment that I bring things on way too deep a level, because what else is new? I hope you guys enjoyed today's Koze Coffee Talk. And aside from that, leave me a comment down below telling me what are your goals for 2019. I actually got asked to post my 2019 like goals and resolutions on my blog like I did last year. If I haven't gotten a chance to do that by the time this video goes live, then I'll definitely do it in the next few days and link that down below too. So also, I will try my best now that I just made up this creation to get the recipe to you guys quite soon. I mean, I already listed it off to you, but still, I feel like I'll try and make like an aesthetically pleasing Insta story or something of me making it. And other than that, I'll see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.